combined type, which is a super fancy way of saying thank you. I know. It's kind of just a fancy way of saying that I'm weird because my brain is spicy. So any other neurodivergence in the house? No, cool, just me. Awesome. Who did I miss? No? What? No? Oh, it's just me. That's great. No, it's fine. I'm used to it. So when I went to the initial intake with my Italian talkie doc, he was like, describe how your brain works. That's kind of a hard, loaded question, even in English, but in one's third language, it was like, well, there's a constant mariachi band playing no matter what I do, and there's a circus full of monkeys dancing, and he goes, that's just all right, I've had enough, and I was like, wait, but there's more! He's like, no, we've got all we need, and then I did the 5 hours of testing and brain scans, and he told me at the end, I knew at the intake. So go figure. So unlike you neurotypicals or normies, I often have a hard time focusing and doing basic things like my laundry. But in fairness to me, I'm really good at washing and drying. I just have no motivation for folding, and so I don't have a wardrobe. I have a floor-drobe. And, I do have very big aspirations to get things done, and then often I just have a little accident. Sometimes it's a piece of cheese or an entire sleeve of Oreos. There's no gauging the depravity of this accident. But I make efforts to clean when I have family or friends coming over. Usually it goes something like a rampage that ends up in doom piles and doom drawers and doom bags. Doom, of course, meaning didn't organize, only moved. And that's what I call tidying up. So, but, in case you're thinking what a charmed life I lead, I recently learned that the autoimmune disorder I have was directly caused by chemical dumping into my local town's water supply. So, nothing particularly funny about the autoimmune part, but I think the whole homegrown science experiment aspect is just another way the USA could say, we're number one.
Where? Where was it?
Well, it wasn't Flint, Michigan, but clearly it's a trend. It was in Oakdale, Minnesota, where I'm from. But the good part is I now have a logical explanation for why I glow in the dark. And, there's always something to be said for that. And I was thinking maybe I should find myself an Aaron Brockovich, should, get a class action lawsuit. I can make a quick $352 and then Elon Musk can move over because there's this new entrepreneur in town that's ready to turn contaminated water into liquid gold. But I looked into how to do class action lawsuits, and apparently it involves filling out a lot of surveys, which, if there's anything adults love more than complaining about traffic and the government, it's filling out surveys. It's basically the national pastime of America, next to baseball and sending thoughts and prayers. Little too on the nose. But yeah, I don't only think about my health. I've also just noticed, politics and government to a lesser extent. Have you seen the World lately? It's sort of like a film produced by Kafka and directed by Tarantino. We have sex scandals that would make us think we're in another time. And there are wars now that make Game of Thrones look like a tea party. Women's rights are somehow moving the clock backwards, go figure. And we have conspiracy theories that would make even Mulder and Scully's head spin. But I'm not that into politics. I do believe we're basically globally playing a collective game of what's the worst that could happen. But we're all winning, which is a bit shocking. But don't worry, I won't go into all the political nonsense, I will just say that I'm optimistic because maybe next season we'll get aliens. But I did experience a little bit of backlash recently. I went on a date. Let's switch a lighter topic. Dating in Italy. Anybody ever tried dating in Italy? Woo! So did anybody in here meet their dream partner? No. Okay. So did you, like me? Oh, you did? Okay. You did meet your dream partner? Okay. Fair enough. That's a fair point. Okay, so we have one. Well, if you're like me, you think that the adage, there's plenty of fish in the sea, but there's also plenty of trash, is especially applicable in Italy. Dating in Italy is more like a game of 20 questions, but you know the questions and the answers in advance, so really it's a recitation. I go on a date and they go, di dove sei? Sono americana, I am American. Ma da quanto sei in Italia? Oh, it's been 7 years by now. Ma perché vivi in Italia? Oh, because I love it here, the culture and the food and the, oh my God, kill me now. I'm so sick of this conversation. It's the same conversation every time. So I decided to shake things up a bit. And on a date recently I said, very casually, I really wish there was less fighting in the world. My date looked at me like I was one of the lizard people and said, Ma, you always this political. I didn't realize that I was running for president on the political platform of world peace, but here I am. So I've decided to go back to my go-to conversation topics before I divulge my go-tos. Does anybody have a foolproof first date conversation topic to share? No? You suck as much as I do? Cool. Okay. Alright, so I usually go with fun animal facts. Don't even get me started on cephalopods. And an ever increasingly necessary but impromptu conversation on how an IUD works. You'd be surprised how often that comes up. Judging by some of the faces in here, I think you might need to get to the Googles. But it's a T-shaped contraceptive device that's inserted in the vagina by the doctor. It protects you against pregnancy for 5 to 10 years. If you want to know more, see me after the show. So, sex education in Italy, as if I'm, the unofficial ambassador for sex ed somehow, birth control, planning, I don't know. I should wear a little badge. It's one of those things that when you tell Italian men about birth control, it's kind of like doing magic tricks for a chimpanzee. Because at first, there's utter disbelief, and then their worldview crumbles into shock and awe as they start banging their chests and throwing feces, just like that. So yeah, I decided to go back to these standard first date topics, but most people always want to know why I live in Italy. What's my expat life, right? So I moved here 7 years ago to escape my ex. I could have moved house or changed cities or moved to a different state, but no, wasn't far enough across the pond. So, any divorcees in the house? No solidarity among survivors. Okay. Alright, well, divorce is sort of like trying to fold a fitted sheet. It's confusing, and it's frustrating, and you never do it right. But before you start thinking that I failed at marriage, I didn't flunk a relationship exam. I actually graduated from Sucktown, USA. So it's all a good thing. It's all great. And now, I can go on dates with Italian men that are seeking divertimento, which I found out is kind of more like David Copperfield. And you are looking for fun, and he disappears after one night. It's great. But I think I'm going to start changing up my style a bit. I'm going to start asking the important questions, the first date questions that we all want to know. So, important questions like, are you single or just on a break from your other 10 girlfriends? Is your ideal woman really your mother? Do you work? does your dick work? You know, the basics, the basics. And I think that'll all save us a lot of time because, you know, TikTok bitches. And I think with that, we can all say TikTok bitches, and thank you very much for my time. Have a good